Hi, dear children. Welcome to the next session on the chapter Human Reproduction. In this module, we are going to learn about fertilization and implantation. We know fertilization is the union of the male gamete and the female gamete, of which both are haploid. And these male gametes are released into the female reproductive tract at the time of copulation, or it is called as mating. And the semen, which is a combination of both the seminal plasma and the sperms, is released by the external genitalia, that is the penis, into the vagina. And this process is called as insemination. And after insemination, the sperms has to travel through the vagina, then through the cervical canal, through the uterus, and finally reaches the isthmus and ampulla. So, isthmus and ampulla junction is the place where the male gametes reach. And next, the female gamete, which is released by the ovary at the time of ovulation, travels through the fimbriae, which is taken by the fimbriae of the infundibulum, and from the infundibulum it moves to the ampulla and reaches the ampullary region or the ampullary isthmus region or junction, where they meet each other and fertilization occur. So fusion of the sperm and the ovum, of which both are haploid, is called as fertilization, and it occurs in the ampullary region or the ampullar isthmus region of the fallopian tube. The fertilization happens only if ova and the sperms are transported simultaneously. So all copulations do not lead to fertilization and pregnancy. There should be a synchrony between the release of sperm into the female reproductive tract and the release of ovum, that is ovulation. If there is no synchrony, or if both is not taking place at the same time, then fertilization cannot happen. So all copulations do not lead to fertilization and pregnancy. When the sperm comes in contact with the zona pellucida, we know the zona pellucida has a layer covering the secondary oocyte. It induces certain changes in the membrane that block the entry of an additional sperm, so that it allows the entry, the restricted entry of only one sperm into the ova, because when the sperm comes in contact with zona pellucida, it induces certain changes in the membrane and thus blocks the entry of an additional sperm. The acrosome is a part of the head region, which is filled with lytic enzyme. And so this acrosome, it helps sperms to enter the egg cytoplasm via the zona pellucida and the plasma membrane. And once the sperm or the nucleus of the sperm enters into the cytoplasm of the egg, crossing the zona pellucida and the plasma membrane, this induces the second meiotic division of the secondary oocyte and thus completes the second meiosis to form the secondary polar body and the ootid or the ovum. And the haploid nuclei of the sperm and the ovum fuse together to form a diploid zygote, thus completing fertilization. Thus, the secretions which is released by the acrosome helps the nuclei of the sperm to cross the zona pellucida and the plasma membrane and reach the cytoplasm, and only then the sperm into the egg cytoplasm, induces the completion of the second meiotic division to form the ootid and the second polar body, and it results in fertilization. The result of fertilization is a single cell called as zygote. And what is the fate of zygote? It undergoes continuous mitotic division. And this mitotic division is called as cleavage. Okay, so mitotic division, which the zygote undergoes, is called as cleavage. And it starts as it moves through the isthmus towards the uterus. So as it is undergoing mitotic division, the dividing zygote moves from the ampulla to the isthmus and finally reaches the uterus. And on its way, it divides to form 2, 4, 8, 16 daughter cells. And these daughter cells, which are a result of cleavage, are called as the blastomeres. So embryo with 18 to 16 blastomeres is called as morula. So the zygote undergoes repeated division to form and this division is called as cleavage. It forms an embryo. So the embryo with 8 to 16 blastomeres is called as a morula. So morula again continues to divide. Okay, it continues to divide. This is a morula. It continues to divide and it transforms to form a blastocyst. This is the blastocyst. So we can see the 2-celled, 4-celled, 8-celled, 16-cell stage, and then the morula is converted into a blastula. In the blastocyst, the blastomeres are arranged in a particular pattern. It forms the blastomeres arrange itself in an outer layer which is called as a trophoblast and an inner cell mass, a mass of cells which is called as an inner cell mass which is attached to the trophoblast. And the trophoblast layer gives nourishment to the inner cell mass. And also the function of the trophoblast is that it helps the embryo to get attached to the endometrium. So inner cell mass, what is the function of the inner cell mass? We learned that trophoblast provides nutrition to the inner cell mass. It also helps to get attached to the endometrium for implantation process. Then what is the function of the inner cell mass? The inner cell mass gets differentiated to form three germ layers. Three germ layers. What are these three germ layers? The outer ectoderm, the middle mesoderm, and inner endoderm. Inner endoderm. Remember these three terms we had learned in the triploblastic organisms, in which the germ layers of an embryo are arranged to form three layers: outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm, and inner endoderm. These three layered structure forms the embryo, or it is called as the gastrula. After attachment, the uterine gets cell starts to divide. So with the help of the trophoblast, see this is a trophoblast. Outer layer is called as a trophoblast. It gets attached to the endometrium. Soon the uterine cell starts to divide rapidly and they start to cover the blastocyst. As a result, the blastocyst becomes embedded in the endometrium, and this process is called as implantation. This is the fate of the fertilized uh, ova, the fate of the fertilized ova, and we can see it is taking place in the ampulla junction. It travels down the isthmus and reaches the uterus, and as it is traveling, it is divided into 2, 4, 8, and 16, and this is called as a morula. Then it transforms to form the blastocyst in which the blastomeres are arranged to form the trophoblast and the inner cell mass, and here we can see the implantation process in the uterus. So dear children, in this module we learned about fertilization and the process called as implantation. Thank you.